Play Watch Listen is a game development podcast from game developers featuring Alana Pierce, which is me, Mike Biffle, and usually Austin Wintry, though he was not able to join us today. This podcast and every other podcast that I make are brought to you by our supporters on Patreon. They got this episode early and an extra, I think, 5-ish minutes of content. But whether you support the show on Patreon or not, we appreciate you being here and we hope you enjoy the episode.
Hi, audience. How's it going?
Hello. How have you been, Mike? What have you been up
Hello.
to? How's your solo stuff going?
Well, there's a lot of questions. Sorry. First of
Go
all, this is the
ahead.
perfect mug for this show.
Very nice. Very
There you
nice.
go. Um, I'm good. I'm good. Yeah, we obviously nice Christmas. We've
Mhm.
not spoken since Christmas, have we?
I
Yeah.
think that this is like the longest we've gone without speaking. The whole of December? In 6 years? Oh my God.
That is I don't know if that's I don't know what that means. But yeah, no, it's been good. I've had a nice break, so I'm just kind of back at it now. Just kind of started properly working yesterday. But yeah, the solo thing's going well. I'm really enjoying it. It was, last year was crap.
Yeah.
But like I was saying to a friend a month or so ago, like I'm actually enjoying my job again now, which is nice. Like that's come back. So I think it's good. I think the thing I'm making is cool. Um, we will see if the internet agrees with me when the time comes, but I think it's cool. I'm excited by it.
I think
And it's
enjoying
going well.
making the thing is half the battle, right? So if you're doing
That's
that,
that's
that's great.
there is a direct correlation between my Metacritic scores and how good a time I had making something.
It makes
Like, you
sense.
want to like map out Mike's mental health in the last 10 years, look at the review scores, and you'll get a pretty good approximation. So yeah, no, I'm having a good time with it. I'm excited to talk about it. That's the big thing is I think being able
Great.
to talk when the time comes, being able to talk very publicly about like the detail of it and what I'm doing without having to, go through absolutely reasonable processes that you have to go through when you've got lots of partners and people in the room. So I'm excited for that part. That's gonna be fun as well. How about you? How's it going?
Well, I was also going to ask, how is the rest of the Bithell Games team doing in terms of
Mhm.
the people that you had to lose? Like, I know
That
that
are
you put
around.
a lot of effort into making sure that people had things lined up. You
Yeah,
reached out to me, because one of your artists, I believed, had always wanted to work at Sony Santa Monica Studios, so I made that
that's
connection.
right.
Like, I know you did a lot of that kind of thing, which I really commend. So, how are those people doing?
Well, it's very kind of you to mention that. I don't really want to toot my own horn about it too much, but yeah,
I'll
I
toot your
think people are
horn.
doing well.
I take it back.
Yeah.
Can't put that on the internet.
No, no, to God without the internet. You don't even want that audio on the
No,
internet,
edit that
Lana.
out. Edit that
No, yeah, people do. I think I don't want to speak for everyone, but it seems like people are doing well. Obviously, I'm still in touch with everyone, and kind of everyone seems to be having a good time. So yeah, it was a shitty situation, but um, I think we all collectively did as good a job as we could in that situation,
Yeah.
and I think the fallout of it has been, yeah, I think people are in good places doing good stuff. So that's exciting to me. It's a weird one. Like it's something that hadn't really occurred to me. There's a joke in the UK about game developers that basically every game developer coming out of the UK either work of my age, either worked at Blitz Games or Codemasters, and those were kind of the two. They were basically like the school. They were the big companies that hired people fresh out of uni, basically. So
Yeah.
you kind of went through most careers either started or very early on went through there.
You were Blitz
There are
Games, right?
exceptions, but I was Blitz Games, yeah. And there's kind of it's a weird. It's kind of like having a specific college you went to, like, oh, you're a Harvard guy. Okay, fair enough. Like
Interesting.
there's a little bit of that energy, and it was and that kind of realization that just a lot of people I'd gotten to work with at Biffle Games were now kind of spreading through the industry, and I was going to see them in different roles in different places. That's it's not the best way to achieve that, but like it's nice to see that kind of playing out. So I'm just very excited by what everyone is basically massively outgrowing Biffle Games, which is the right
Yay.
way
I
for it to be.
guess.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really cool. It's good. It's good.
Yeah.
So yeah,
There's like a term people talk about in networking, which is nonsensical because, like, if you were to actually enact it this way, it would be extremely manipulative and gross. But the
yeah,
idea of like the connections that you make when you're younger, often a lot of those people will continue to be successful in different places. Like, one
yeah,
of my friends is a marketing exec at Netflix, and we worked together at IGN. Like, that's crazy. Like, it's very cool
yeah.
to, like, just that was like that person that I met when we were making, I don't know, $50,000 a year or whatever in San Francisco and couldn't afford anything. And now she's a fucking exec at Netflix. Like, it's just so cool. She's the one who organized Evanescence playing on stage at the Game Awards. And like, man, like what a weird full circle thing to happen where you just get
I
to,
don't know if we've talked about the fact that I'm a closet Evanescence fanboy. I don't know if that's come up on the show yet. I think we should leave
hmm,
another 6 years before we dig into it.
that's interesting
But
lore. I don't know what kind of
that's some good
music you
lore to
like.
add to them. I'm quite eclectic in my tastes. I kind
Hmm,
of like everything. I'm kind of, but yeah, I definitely have an enjoyment of like the more operatic, theatrical kind of,
I see.
not quite camp, but like bigger emotional music. And I think Evanescence definitely fall in that category.
Mike, are you I
Tell
don't know
me,
why I'm
ask me.
uncomfortable asking you this question when I'd never be uncomfortable asking like anyone else I know this question. Are you into goth girls? Is that part of?
I married one, yeah.
I was gonna say Carrie's kind of got goth girl vibes.
Yeah, I
Also
mean,
an
yeah,
interesting
no.
thing to add to the lore sheet.
Which, by the way, okay, you've opened this door now.
I have.
I I have such an enjoyment for the demographics of um goth boyfriends of goths.
Oh yeah, it's a
Is a
huge thing.
really
Oh my god, and you are a
interesting.
boyfriend of a goth. You fit the
I'm studying
stereotype.
it from the inside, and that's the thing. I do very much fit a
You're
stereotype,
the cute
and
little nerd boyfriend game developer. That's the whole thing.
that's the whole thing.
Oh
Thank
my
you for calling me
god.
cute. But like it's great going to, so like in the last, because we just Kerry's working on a film in London at the moment, so we're in London a lot more than we had
Oh, is
been,
that where you are right now?
previously. That's where I am right now. Hence the awful audio. Apologies, everyone. But the we've been to like some tattoo conventions and
Oh,
kind of
cool.
goth. There's satanic Christmas markets in the UK, so we've been going to a couple of those, which is fun.
What is
But
that?
it's a Christmas market, but goth shit,
Okay,
basically.
okay,
Like,
cool. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But like specifically, my enjoyment of those events is like 99% just seeing a bunch of goth girls and their generic Mike Biffle types. And
Yeah.
it's just fun seeing that definitely is like a consistent energy. Speaking of
Thank you.
types,
What, yeah, what's this? Are you a golden retriever boyfriend or are you just the little nerd game dev boyfriend? Because there's kind of
you're gonna have
both.
to introduce me to the term golden retriever boyfriend.
Well,
What
I
does that
don't
mean?
think you're a golden retriever boyfriend, but that's like there are jokes about like a hot bi goth girl dating a golden retriever boy, and it's usually like someone who is extremely positive and happy, um, and like I guess I don't know how else to describe it other than that they're like the energy is golden retriever,
Yeah.
and I don't
Kerry
think
has
you have
occasionally
that.
referred to me as her manic pixie dream boy. Like that. I don't know if
That's
that
very good.
overlaps with golden
That's very.
retriever.
It might. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it might do.
Much to
Yeah,
consider.
yeah.
Much to consider.
This is good. I'm glad we're
You
getting
brought
to
me a
this
coffee for free.
important
Well,
relationship
this is
stuff
what
on
the
the
people
show.
want to
This is
kick
good.
off in
Yeah.
2026 is relationship archetypes. But as I said this the last episode, I think that the best thing about getting to play Malevola and Dispatch is that I just keep getting sent pictures of hot girls dressed up as a demon, and it's great. It's like
Yeah.
almost every day.
And because it's a character as well, there's not like a layer of like that's me. Like I imagine if you're like
Yeah,
an
not at all.
actor who's played a role like that, there's kind of a weird layer of like this is someone kind of fetishizing my appearance and that's strange or whatever. I
That's interesting.
guess. I don't
Maybe
know.
like if you would have live action
Whereas,
something and someone made it sexual, maybe
but like being sent, pictures of
it's
your
great.
hot character from a video game, there's none of that,
It's really, really great.
involved.
I guess the cosplay community has changed a lot in the
Mm.
10 years since I cosplayed or whatever the fuck. Probably longer than that. It's probably like 15. Where now it's a really competitive social media ecosystem where there is a thing for either you're the first person to do it, you're the best person to do it, or you're like potentially the most sexual person to do it, and those are the only
Mm.
ones who like get some kind of boost or following or income from it, and
I know
everyone
which
else is
category
just
I'm always going for. Yeah. Yeah.
you do a great job.
Thank
Give
you.
the people
Thank
what they
you.
want. But it's like a very like TikTok focused thing now, where it used to be like you'd have a Facebook page with photos from a convention, whereas now it's someone is just cosplaying on TikTok and not wearing it anywhere. It's just for a single
That's
video.
interesting. So they're just doing it, they're doing it at home, basically.
Yep,
They're not. So that whole kind of public performance aspect of it
it's
is
not there anymore.
that's fascinating.
Yeah,
That's because you're right. It's not at that point. It's not a hobby. Like if you're
it's a
like a
job.
hobbyist cosplayer is going to spend months on a costume because they're doing an hour here and there when they have time around their job. This is people who are basically, yeah, they're costume makers professionally. That's fascinating.
Yes, they
But I
are
also like,
professional cosplayers specifically for social media, which is not any less valid,
yeah,
to be clear. It's just that I hadn't
not at all.
realized it had
But
changed.
it's different. It's
Yeah,
certainly different than what than kind of my perception of that. It's also like it's a weird kind of cultural echo, right?
Borderlands did that
100%.
intentionally when they made the pre-sequel. They were talking about how they started to do character designs with cosplayers in mind because they recognized the marketing potential.
I've had marketing people kind of talk to me about that and talk to me about like, and as well. I think the one I always remember, but it's lots of games do it now, was Horizon Zero Dawn put out like how
Cosplay
to
guide.
cosplay
Hmm.
as Aloy, right? The whole guide, the here's the materials, here's the close-ups of the details, blah blah. Like that stuff does matter, and it just, yeah, it's thing to encourage. But as you say, I imagine now it's so algorithmically led that they're going after what they love, but also the properties that are trending or whatever. That
Yeah,
actually, I wonder if you'd have a hard time. I mean, I imagine now if you wanted to get like a professional cosplayer to dress as your character and do content, that's a paid for thing. That's like you're paying an influencer
that's always
essentially at
been
that
a
point. So it
thing
crosses over. Yeah, but more so
at
now, I
an
suspect. I think
event.
that's
True, true.
it's not just, it's not just we'll provide you with help and materials. It's like if you're going to promote our stuff, there's going to be a trade there,
True.
which
They
is kind of
used to
more of
get
the
paid to
standard.
go to events as cosplayers. I think
Mm.
now you're right. They probably just do it on social media, which is super interesting.
Like I think the way Dispatch has culturally impacted, there are major motion pictures, blockbuster films that would love to be that relevant. It's amazing what they achieved. And what's cool was I talk when I was chatting to folks from that team beforehand. They had all the pieces in place. It wasn't an accident. They knew what they were doing, and they were laser focused on we are going to tell a story. We're going to make these characters people are going to love. We're putting this much work into it, and it's lovely when you see. It's great when you meet people, and I've certainly, like, when I've been at game events, I'm sure you have as well, met people who are like shocked by a success. Like, we're just three idiots and we made this thing and it's blown up. I really also like when professionals like call their shot and make that shot, and it's
Yeah.
very cool to see that play out as well. So
Yeah. Have
I'm
you
I'm
ever
very
seen
proud of that team. It's really cool.
the Reddit thread where the original trailer for Hollow Knight was posted? It's so
No, no, I've not
funny.
seen that.
It's a guy was like, "Hey, my friend's been making this game for this amount of years, whatever. Check out the trailer. I think it looks really cool." So many of the comments are like, "This looks shit. This is a copy of this. This just looks like a
Yeah,
clone of this game." So much of it is so negative, and it's like, man, you had no idea the cultural impact that Hollow Knight was going to have. It's crazy, and it's like
yeah,
something about, yeah, the three guys having fun doing something. I feel like that's the way that they felt about it the first time too, and like they said that Silksong took them as long to make as it did. Just got to act 3,
mm.
everybody. This game's so fucking long, Jesus Christ. I've been
I've
playing it
heard that.
since it
I've
came
heard
out
that.
and I'm still playing
Yeah,
oh my god. um I'm at the Hunter's March and it sucks there. That's all. It sucks. It really sucks there now. It sucks. That's all I'm gonna say. Jesus Christ. But they like said basically Silksong took them as long to make as it did because they're just having a really good time making it. That's just,
yeah.
man, what a time. But I was also talking to a friend recently who's currently working for a Chinese company. Um, as a they're a narrative designer, but also a writer, and they were talking about how the Yohoverse games get
Hmm.
made, like a little bit about how they approach writing or picking characters. And they were saying that the way that they pitch a character is they will make a manga first, publish
Hmm.
it on the internet, and see which characters get cosplayed, get talked about, get
Wow.
memed, and then those are the ones that get put in the game.
Like how Marvel uses comic books basically at this stage.
True,
Like
yeah.
you're essentially
Yeah.
doing market research, right? You're seeing which characters
Yep.
click for people. That's fascinating.
Yeah.
That's an enormous investment as well. Like to get like quality, like you say, manga made. Like that's nothing. That's not nothing. That's an investment in the R&D. They clearly see the benefit of finding out early whether something works, and they're investing in it. That's really cool.
Well,
I wish I had
okay.
the
My
resources to do that.
thought
That's really
is
cool.
that the people making that manga are probably quite underpaid. I would think it's
That's
not
also
that
probably
much
true.
of an
Yeah,
investment
that's yeah.
where it is and coming
Okay.
from them specifically, but it's not nothing. Like it is still effort.
That's what I'm saying. Like, regardless of like, if people are underpaid, that sucks. But like, it's still more of an investment. Like, so much of like making anything creative is sitting thinking like, I think this is good. I think people will get this. I think this character works. I think this story works. I think this is a cool idea. But to be able to actually put that out there and test these things and play with them, that's why things like early access are so cool from the game development side, that you can just kind of find out find
Yeah,
out how
how do you
people
feel
react to
about
stuff.
early access as a game developer?
I've been massively annoyed that other people are able to do it for years, and I've not been able to. And I will at some point play with that for sure, because I think it's really cool. I've always really prioritized playtesting,
Mm.
but obviously the last 5 years working on a big IP, that wasn't something that was viable. So we did a lot of playtesting, but we couldn't do any kind of public early access stuff. But I love it because there's lots of kinds of game designers, but there's two kinds of game designers, in that there are game designers who want to sit you down and have you play the experience they made, and there are game designers who kind of want to sit next to you and be like adjusting the experience. There's kind of, I guess, the difference
Mm.
between like person who shoots movie and tabletop RPG dungeon master. Like those kind of personality types of wanting to be in conversation with the audience versus wanting to yell at them. And I'm definitely in the kind of the conversational, let's see where this goes.
Mm.
Are you having fun? Are you having fun? Can I help you to have fun? Can I, it's, I guess, golden retriever. There you go.
Maybe you
Like
are.
I want, maybe I am, but I think that's what's exciting to me about early access, is that you can kind of build that in tandem. You're still a director, you're still someone, or a designer or whatever. You're still an author. You're making decisions, but that you can make those decisions with like live feedback from people who are having the
Mm.
experience is very exciting to me. Playtesting's wonderful, but it's such a weird snapshot. You get kind of like the longest playtesting I've done is like, a week of playtesting. You'll get a bunch of people through and they'll play like 45 minutes of the game, and you get a bunch of notes, and it's helpful, and you get to make those 45 minutes better, and you can extrapolate and have ideas, or you can give people stuff for longer, which we've also done, and kind of get those long-term things. Anyone who's ever playtested one of my games will know how bad the version they played versus how good the version that came out was. They'll see the difference, but it's always limited. It's always kind of constrained in that way. The idea of being able to do that in a rolling way is very exciting.
Yeah,
That's really cool.
but this is obviously dumb of me, but I always go, I don't know how to approach that in terms of marketing. Again, obviously
Oh, I
dumb
have no idea
because,
how to
well,
approach that in terms of marketing there.
it's Baldur's Gate 3 was just fine, but that's also a giant IP, so it's very different. But
I think, yeah.
there are many games that have been in early access. I mean, Peak is still technically in early access. That game's extremely successful. That like sorry, not Peak. It's oh, maybe it is. No, it's not because
The
it
one
got
where you're
renovated for a game.
climbing with a
Repo.
friend.
Repo is
Oh,
still in
yeah.
early access. Um
Yeah.
so it's just I don't know how you avoid the first debut of something and have people go, well, this sucks though. And then how do you change that? It's
And
just I don't know how to
that's
do
the
it.
thing, when I've spoken to people, that's the thing that comes up every time, is managing that problem
Mm,
is most of the battle. Because people, like it or not, people will judge the thing based on their first experience with it, as we all would, right?
totally
Like
fair.
I've seen the first episode of many TV shows that I've not seen the second episode of, right? Like we do that. Like it doesn't matter if it gets good in the second season, I'm not sticking around, right?
Yeah.
So I think I do think I think that's a fair reaction from the audience, but I think working out how to communicate that stuff, and communicate and basically set expectations, that seems to be the whole game. And that's the stuff that I know
Yeah.
people are talking about. The simplest version of this, the kind of, it's not quite the same, but I remember when we did Subsurface Circular, which was this visual novel we made, where it was kind of at a time where visual novels were very simplistic looking, like they were just 2D art. There was not much. Um, there were beautiful visual novels, but they were much lower budget, so they weren't kind of hitting a visual level. And we knew we were making ours with like 3D graphics, and we knew it looked kind of shiny and cool. But we also knew it was a 2 hour game where you sat in a chair on a train and nothing else happened. So we had this a lot of internal conversation about like how do we put out a trailer for this game that doesn't imply it's a bigger experience than it is? How do we manage those expectations? And to the extent that I don't know if this is still the case. We may have changed it, but I know at launch, Subsurface Circular, we just called it a text adventure game on Steam. We didn't acknowledge the visual novelness of it. We didn't acknowledge. We were like, this is a basically the subtext to all of the Steam page was, this is not much of a game. Come in and expect like a smaller, compact
Mm,
experience, and that worked amazingly. That
mm,
game got like really great kind of user feedback and Steam reviews. But a big part of that was expectation management, was exactly avoiding the problem you're talking about of like not letting people get a bigger version into their heads
yeah.
and then be disappointed by what's in front of them. But yeah, with early access, that is a rolling problem and a constant kind of concern. I know lots of people who work on early access games who that is like their big marketing problem, basically, that they're always trying to work on. I'm not sure
It's
anyone's
yeah.
figured it out completely
It's
yet.
clearly worked very well for a lot of studios, and yeah,
Oh, it can.
I wouldn't know. I wouldn't have any idea how to approach it because it's so alien to the way that I've seen anything be marketed in my entire career.
Yeah.
Like it's just so different. But again, clearly works really well. I think it's definitely a great way for communities to be able to support ongoing game development.
Hmm.
Um, but even then, it's not guaranteed. Like it's just such a. I don't know. We should talk to somebody who's like funded a game through early access at some point and just
We
ask
should.
how on earth they approach that.
How
Because
do you
like
do that? Yeah.
for Layers Deep, we're planning to uh the first level that I like really fleshed out was really just the one that I had started working on first. Like there's no real good
Mm.
reason for it. It was just like, okay, this is here on the map and it's to the
Yeah.
left. It's literally like bottom left. And so I was like, great, let's do that. Makes sense. And I would say like our plan is probably to like once we have that level to a place that we're happy with it, that we release that level as a demo. Even that's
Yeah.
kind of complicated when something's a Metroidvania, though, because like, what tools do we give them at that point? Like, do we need them to have an understanding of how certain puzzle design works or how platforming works before they get to that point? I guess like maybe tutorial before the demo. Like that's been the plan the whole time. Is we release that level as a
Yeah.
demo when we're ready to do it. Don't know when that is.
There's a lot of challenges to that. The big one is, as you say, kind of not just the kind of the worry of like people being disappointed by what they're seeing, but also exactly as you say, the kind of where you are in the game.
Yeah,
I've done some playtesting with my solo thing, just kind of friends and family stuff, which has gone well. But like one of the notes I got back was, why does this game not have this obvious mechanic in it? And the answer is because you're playing, you know, half the first half hour, say, of the game, you're not at the bit where you get given that yet. And in hearing kind of people like, because people will scope to what they see, which again is totally reasonable. You if you're presented with the, something that doesn't have this obvious mechanic in it, you're going to give that note and have that feedback. But like, yeah, it's short of just making a lot of promises early, it's a tricky one. I think
yeah.
it's like a lot of things in indie dev. It encourages a certain kind of game design. When I was coming up, the industry rewarded people who made like one good gimmicky mechanic and then just extracted as much value out of that as possible. So something like Portal, where it's just like, we are going to absolutely extract all the awesome gameplay you can do from this very simple one
And they
thing,
sure did. Best
and
game
that
ever made.
exactly, and it's a masterpiece. Where are you on the one or two argument?
I find that very difficult. I would
Okay,
combine
that's
them as a
maybe an
package
episode.
and say the best game ever made is Portal 1 and or 2.
Fair.
I
Yeah, no,
really
that's
do. I
valid. That's
guess
valid.
I would say 2. The story is obviously better slash the co-op is fucking fantastic, but it's also you can't
Mm,
have 2 without 1. It's tough, man. I've thought about it. It keeps me up at
yeah,
night.
yeah, fair enough. Um, I think that was that moment. I think we're in a moment right now where roguelikes are very rewarded because they encourage play. Then they don't you don't have to make an insane amount of content versus the amount of time people play. Where most of the metrics by which the algorithms are kind of promoting games are based on play duration. So if you can make a game as an indie that takes fucking forever to play, that will be rewarded by both the algorithm but also by the taste of the audience in the
Mm.
current moment. I do think early access creates a different paradigm, and I'm not sure exactly what that is yet. But
Yeah,
there's
we should
each of
endeavor
these
to have
ways of
someone talk to us
releasing.
about it.
We should let's get an expert on. Let's get someone
Yeah,
who's had a good
early
run with
access
something.
success. Yeah.
Well, the thing I
Um,
see a lot as well is people just staying in early access, right? That's a thing now where why would you release it if it's doing well in early access? You can kind of stay in that conversation with the audience. You know, as a game designer, you want to just keep making as good a game as you can make. Why would you step to that 1.0 stage? I don't know.
yeah, I guess only if you want a huge marketing moment, I guess. In theory,
Sure.
because reviewers are now also reviewing early access games once they get big enough too. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I guess like yeah, I'd want to talk to someone and I guess be like, what's the argument against it? Like it's
Hmm.
like what we're saying really here is just this is unfamiliar to me, but in no way do I think it's inherently bad. It's
No.
just unfamiliar to me. That's all it is. Like I just don't know how to approach it. Something you touched on there that is like keeping me up at night and I'm just trying to ignore it is expected mechanics.
Mm.
Let me tell you, expected mechanics where a Metroidvania is concerned. Every time that I go out of my way to try to come up with something more creative, not every time. There's one thing I think we have that's very unique and cool. But most of the time, it'll just actually be a different version of the same mechanic that's in every Metroidvania. And I go, yeah, it's just
Yeah.
that, but slightly different. Fuck, it's really hard because people are really with Metroidvanias. You gotta give them dash and you gotta give them double jump, and they gotta earn those at some point. I'm like, do they? Is how hard is this rule? Is this a requirement? Like,
Mm.
it's really tough to weigh up how important that is. Like, what if we just start them with dash and double jump? What does that do? Like, it's fucking hard. And like, there was
Yeah.
one I'm usually very proud of this. I think it's really cool. There was one mechanic that I came up with that would be in that first level that would be in the demo that I was like, and then we go here and we get this item that does this thing. And the other two people on my team, Josh and Eric, were like, there's already a whole Metroidvania that does just that. That's their whole thing is that mechanic. And I was like, fuck. So I looked up that game and I was like, shit, they really do just do that thing. And I reached out to them because I found out that their team are in Brisbane, Australia. I contacted them and I was like, hey, we were going to use the mechanic that is your game in our game. You can say no to this and we will walk the fuck away from it and have nothing to do with it whatsoever. We would really like if we could find a way to share universes with your game. We can use your mechanic, but have it actually use the art that it is in your game, and we will give you
That's
our
cool.
character and yours. And they were like, sick, sounds good. So we're still using the mechanic, but the mechanic is, even though I had no idea the game existed, it is basically like a version of their character is in our
Mm.
game. They sent us our art, and so we're using the mechanic still, but we're like crediting them for the
That's
mechanic
really
that
cool.
yeah, I'm really happy with it. I was like, what man, wonder if there's like more Metroidvanias that we could just like do little collaborations with, because there is a very big there's a Discord that we're on that's like just a giant indie dev Metroidvania. Like there's so many of them.
Yeah.
And it's I think probably more accessible because I feel like Godot is like like in our experience at least quite Metroidvania friendly. And I was
Mm.
like, man, I can't see any reason not to have, because there's also like a huge subset of gamers that just play Metroidvanias. Like there really are. It's a huge thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, I wonder if there's like more means for indies to do that across the board where we're benefiting each other. Like they will
I
have
love
our
that.
character in their game. We have to be in the credits, I guess, and then we literally have their mechanic and their character in our game, and we're just like kind of sharing the world. I feel very good about it.
It's cool to do. Yeah, I've only ever dipped my toe into that stuff. Again, I was for 5 years I've been kind of limited in my ability to do these things. But like back in the day, like I remember when we put the Thomas Was Alone characters into Little Big Planet, like that was insane. Like those kind of
Yeah,
things, like being able to do those bits and pieces. It was a little bit bad. It wasn't really an indie game, but you know what I'm saying. Like there was definitely
Weirdly
like
indie branded
it's
though.
nice. Yeah, very. It's yeah. It had the style. Indie. I don't know what indie is anyway. But the yeah, I think that's cool. I think that's really cool. I think that's also something like you say that's worth exploring further. Like, can you bring in other
That's what I was
things
thinking. Is
and
like
from other games?
people that
That's
are in
cool.
the community that we have relationships with or whatever. I can't see any reason not to throw references to other Metroidvanias in our Metroidvania. Like
Mm.
it's really fun. It's a very cool community who have been very supportive of one another. I recently gave a shout out to their in our Discord or in the Metrovania Discord, a game called Constance that came out last
Hmm.
year. That is, it's like 4 or 5 hours long, so on the shorter side for a Metrovania, which at the time that I played it was a fucking relief. Such beautiful animation. The main character has a paintbrush, and as you like glop onto a wall and climb up it instead of doing a wall run, it's like you become paint. Um,
Oh,
it's
that's
just
fun.
absolutely beautiful, and I was like, "Is this? Could we like put paint or Constance in there somewhere? Like, it's that stuff." And especially because that team has done really well on social media, in terms of like a lot of their Instagram reels or TikToks or whatever. I think because the game is so beautifully animated, have done very well, and they've been really open to sharing like some of their marketing strategy and like some of the different opinions people have on that. Um, a big one in that particular Discord is if you're an indie game, show everything all the time. Don't feel like you need to hold things back.
Mm.
And that's been a really weird one for me, especially coming from, games I'm working on that I still can't talk about, which is great.
But
Um,
that's not caused you any problems,
it's
Alana. That's
been
fine.
great. I
Yeah,
love life.
that's no stress, no drama.
Like and they're just like, show everything, everything all the time. Show
Yeah.
all of your work in progress. Don't worry about spoilers. Nobody fucking cares. It's an indie game. And I'm like, well, there's like a couple of things that I'm gonna withhold,
I think I
please.
don't necessarily agree with the spoiler thing, but I think sharing a lot is cool. I think the audience for indie is has always been niche. We have it's like anything, it's like any genre of like movie or music or whatever. We have these moments where we crest into popular culture before diving back down. Like we're a niche. And the people
Yeah.
who are engaged, the person who's gonna be following an indie dev on social media or watching this show or like doing any engagement with indie stuff at all as a fan, they're in it. Yes, they want to play the game, but they're also just interested in the process and the people that make the stuff they like, you know. So I think that's definitely something that's to me again, like once I can talk about this next thing, I'm gonna be incredibly annoying about it. Like
Yeah, I'd
I
love
want to
because you
overshare.
can, like if we could because
Yeah.
you haven't been able to really most of this show.
Yeah. I don't
Be
necessarily
down to
mean here, I
do
mean everywhere,
for
basically. But
sure,
yeah,
for
go on,
sure. But
sorry.
like I'd love
Yeah.
to do like a if you can, like a full BTS episode that's like a mini doc. You show us everything you made throughout the process that you're willing to share. Like I'd love
Yeah.
to be able to do more of that with game dev in general. Like as soon as I can with Layers Deep, or I feel like I can, I'll show you my design docs.
We should do
Happy
screen
to.
share episodes.
Yeah.
We should just do episodes where we just screen share everything
Here's how you made the
we're
thing. I
playing
can't see
with.
any reason not to. Like, I do occasionally have people
Yeah.
reach out to me now, again, also from the indie space, some of whom are from that Metroidvania Discord. Like, there's been a couple of women specifically, actually, which has been very cool, reach out and be
Mm.
like, hey, they brought me onto this team as a writer. I've not done this before. How do I do it? And I'm just like, here's our whole game.
Yeah.
Go do what you will. Like, I can't see any reason not to. It's just, I don't
No.
know. Yeah, it's a very
I've
fun community to be a part
never
of.
I think the indie scene is in general, and this is not legal advice before I say it. This is not this is but to anyone listening, I've never like I've always been other than when I'm working with other people's IP where there are absolutely limitations.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I've always been ridiculously loose-lipped. Like in non-online spaces, like if you've been at an event with me in the last few months, you know what I'm working on. Like I talk a lot about stuff. I chat to people
Mm,
often more than I should. I have never seen anything online or anything get leaked. The indie developers are cool.
yeah.
Generally, like I've not like and I've been that way for a decade. Like I've always talked privately about what I'm working on with stuff. Like I said, it's different with IP, but with my own stuff, I'm very comfortable chatting. And yeah, the indie scene has always just been incredibly kind about not spilling each other's secrets. We all know what each other's working on. We're all sharing stuff, but
I feel like probably not
people
that
are
many
cool.
people have secrets either, right?
not meaningful, like just like I'm about to announce this game, or here's
Yeah,
the thing
sure.
I'm working on. I've just not
God,
talked
can
about it
you
publicly yet.
imagine leaking a fucking indie game announcement? Can you imagine being that much of a piece of shit?
I
Like,
mean, it
oof.
probably has happened.
I'm
Like
sure it
that's why I'm
has.
like,
Yeah.
don't take this as advice. Like don't like I've been lucky maybe, but like I've definitely never had it.
Mm.
But yeah, you'd be a really bad person if you chose to do that, obviously.
Yeah,
But
yeah. In my experience, the other indie devs have all been wonderful and interested in being
yeah,
collaborative, and it really, of course, there would be people in the space who just want to get famous or whatever. Like, I'm sure there are people
those
like
people
that who
tend to get
exist.
very quickly bored, in my experience. I've been through a few generations of those people now. Like it's what you were saying earlier of like the networking advice of like be friendly with your peers rather than trying to find one of the things I've always found really odd is when you're at like game events, there'll always be you know, new people who are like students or kind of just in their first job or whatever, and they'll be friendly and they'll be chatting to everyone and they'll be having a nice time, and you look at that group of people, you know, the kind of, you know, students, people in their early 20s just kind of stood there, and you're like, in 10, 15 years time those people will be the names. They'll be people who are doing really well. That's how it
It's
works.
true, it goes in
There'll be a
reverse as well.
person who
Just be nice
won't
to
be.
people.
Well, but person who won't be is and this happens at every event, will be, there'll always be like one student who just wants to talk to famous developers, who will make a beeline for everyone that they've seen, every kind of famous name, kind of, you know, the I'm thinking of like the American where top 20 like game
Sure,
developers. You'll see people go to them, and in most cases they'll have a nice conversation, but they're not going to get any value from that conversation. That they're just going to have a polite fan interaction rather than
sure,
kind
sure.
of you know, what they would get from working with their peers and collaborating. So I'm always a big fan of the advice of kind of, yeah, be be cool to the people around you because they're going to be like the successful famous game devs in a decade, and you're going to be friends with them, and that's going to be a better, from a networking point of view, that's a better scenario. Or
Also,
just
just
be
like,
nice.
yeah, talking
Yeah,
to people about the thing that you're working on at the time that you're working on it, very helpful. People
yeah,
who are doing the same shit, you learn from each other. Like, it's just no point in being
yeah.
guarded. And there are, of course, some names where people do blow up who are the arseholes, but you're right in that I don't think they stay around for very long. I don't like the idea of like just be friends with people in case they're successful. That's stupid. It doesn't make any sense. But I register that it like just
I
making
think it's
friendships and
bad.
relationships is good for your life.
I think it's bad advice unless you're a sociopath.
Yes.
The problem is it is definitely true.
Yeah, I know.
Like when
Yeah.
I think back to like my first job, and I started with like three or four people on that day, and we were work colleagues, we were buddies, and all four of those people is now the creative director on a mega franchise. And it's like, okay, that's that's an illustration of what I'm talking about. I talked to them and went to the pub with them because they were guys who were going through the same stage of their career as me, and we were buddies, and it was nice. But that is how it works in careers. I think when you're
Mm,
just starting out, there's this feeling that there's like, I'm new and will be new forever, and those guys over there are the establishment, and it's just that they showed up to the party earlier than you did. Like that's
yeah.
all. That's the only difference between you and them. Like that's, and I think that's getting out of that headspace and realizing that. I remember there's a story I tell, and I removed the names, but I posted this story on Twitter years ago, and every single person that I was talking about liked it. So I think they know who they are. I was at an event, and I there was a, you know, after the event there was like a little house party, like a bunch of people went over there, and there were these kind of three or four like industry legends, and I was there with a couple of friends, and the legends were in a corner kind of off to the side talking to themselves, and like when me and my friends started to approach, they weren't rude, but they were having a private conversation. It was kind of, you know, doing the body language, and I remember at the time thinking those guys are assholes.
That's
And
so
then
funny.
it took me years to realize later, no, that's just a group of friends who don't
Having a
want some
conversation. Yeah.
random people to come over while they're chatting up. They're probably catching up about each other's families or whatever. They don't
Yeah.
give a crap about me and my excited, oh my God, I know you
Yeah.
off the internet.
Yeah.
And and you know, I'm now friends with a couple of those people because I did become friends. Like it's not the same interaction. So I think, yeah,
Can't
people,
force
yeah,
it.
the peers thing You can't force it. Just people are people.
I haven't.
Be
This
friends
is
with people.
not valuable to this conversation, other than that I'm still very excited about it. I don't really fangirl about much at all. It's very difficult for a celebrity to impress me. I don't give a shit. I really don't care.
That probably makes it easier for celebrities to be friends with you, right? Like there's not that barrier.
I would say so, in that I really don't care. However,
Yeah.
I spent maybe 2 hours at the Game Awards after party talking to Dan Houser. And I still keep being like, I spent 2 hours talking to Dan Houser. And he was lovely. Like,
Yeah.
very fun, very devastatingly a Man United supporter, but that's fine.
That's all right.
Just a regular fucking dude, and he was very open about like stuff relating to the games that he has worked on. And I've always had this particular theory about GTA 5, which is a game that I absolutely adore. And I was like, am I right about this particular thing about the story? And he was like, yes, it's so stupid. We just can't say that. And I was like, I really wish I could tell everyone that you just said yes to that. Son of a bitch.
You need to tell me that after we finish.
I would love to. It's something that I've thought about making a YouTube video about for ages, but like the hostility would be so extreme that it's like, is it even worth talking about? Like, what does anyone benefit from me talking about this? But it's something I feel very strongly about. But that was definitely one of those moments where I was like, man, the fucking games this dude has made. But I will say the reason that we probably spoke for that long was that I did really just treat him like a human, you know?
It sounds like you weren't hero worshipping. It sounds like
I also
you
didn't
just
ask him for
really
contact
worried.
details. I can never see him again.
That's a big one. Or a selfie, right? That's
Yeah.
the hilarious one. Is when that's my advice. If you're meeting someone for the first time that you admire and you want them to have a real conversation, don't ask them for a selfie. Or do, because you want to be a fan. That's cool too.
Yeah, true.
That's cool too.
Yeah.
No, I definitely. Yeah, I am a bit starstruck sometimes. Like that does happen to me more
Tim
often.
Schafer had that effect on me when I first met him.
He disarms it by being a really nice guy.
Fucking love. I think I've told the story before. It was at DICE, and I finally went and walked up to him, and I was fucking hammered drunk. And like I don't drink like that at all anymore. I was really drunk, and I just ranted at him about loving his games, and the fact that he still talks to me is a blessing. I don't know why he talks to me at all.
I think Tim Schafer is one of those guys who's just like, he doesn't fully necessarily believe or understand that he's Tim Schafer either. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's a kind of, I think he's kind of, it's not gone to his head in the way it does to some people.
We were walking around the E3 show floor once. I'm sure I've told this story before too. We were walking around the E3 show floor, and I had been stopped and asked for a photo maybe like 5 times, and I was with Tim Schafer, and on the 5th person, I was like, do you know who this is? And he was like, you don't need to do this. And I was like, this is Tim Schafer. Like, what are you people doing asking me for a picture when this man is here? And then I explained who Tim Schafer was, and the person that I happened to say that to was like, oh my God, can I get a photo? And I was like, thank you. Jesus.
That's right. I still
Schafer.
remember, you may have heard this story from him, but I remember going out for drinks with Rahul after it was an episode. I think it was Supergirl he was on. He was like guest starring on something.
Yeah.
I'm going out for a drink with him, and I think we went to BAFTA, which is in Piccadilly, just off Piccadilly Circus, to get a drink, and walked back to the Tube, and it was about 5 minutes of walking, and I think I had to take selfies of him with people 3 times in that 5-minute window. It was awesome. I was very, I loved that.
With Rahul, really interestingly, he gets recognized all the time, but it's like it sometimes depends on what he's wearing. Like a certain outfit will make him.
If he's like
in some way.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, because people are in my face,
he puts on the sheriff costume a lot before leaving the house. I imagine.
And Ravi, he does the lab coat,
or like Dr. Lab Coat. Yeah.
I would actually say he gets recognized for iZombie more than anything else.
I noticed that in Life of Chuck, where it was like, okay, I see you're playing the hits. Okay.
Oh, just keeps doing costumes so he can be recognized.
He's playing doctors. Yeah. Jesus.
Definitely a thing. But I have to run. We had to start this episode late because I had a disaster of a meeting and I want to shoot myself in the face. Thank you for cheering me up, Mike. I was not in a good mood when I joined this meeting. I appreciate it. The thesis of today is, if you're an indie game developer, talk to other indie game developers about stuff. Share stuff. You're all helping each other. And we all really need that right now, too.
Absolutely.
Collaborate. And
listen.
Go ahead.
You said collaborate. I said and listen. It's fine.
I thought you were going to say like and listen.
He's having a great time right now. No, it's okay.
All right. Bye.
Bye. You got to do a Vanilla Ice reference. Come on.